Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name's Freedom. Thank you for joining me. In tonight's episode, I am going to discuss the age-old question, why did the narc choose me? But before I do, please take a moment to like my videos, subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoy what you see, then please share with your friends. All right, so one of the kind of number one questions that I hear about narcissists and narcissistic abuse is why did he choose me, or why did they choose me? And the first thing I suppose you have to understand is, well, there's a couple of things. One, it really depends on what role they were trying to cast. So, for example, if they already had primary supply, at home, so maybe they were just looking for some secondary supply. Maybe they were just looking for a bit on the side. Maybe they were looking to replace you and they were looking for new supply. Maybe they just wanted to have you around as a flying monkey. There's a lot of different kind of roles that the narcissist will cast people in. But let's just assume, for this particular question, let's assume that you were primary supply and you're wondering why the narcissist chose you as his partner or significant other or primary supply. All right, so I've written a list. Look, some of the there's a couple of categories, first of all, and some of things that I have listed here, could be seen as being negative, and I'm not in any way trying to victim shame or blame anyone for the narcissist and the narcissistic abuse, because at the end of the day, the victims were the innocent party in this particular incidence or relationship, whatever you want to call it. All right, so, but ultimately, they're looking for a kind of a mixed bag. So they're looking for people that are special. So people that raise their profile in the community or raise their standing in the community. So anyone who has any kind of, I suppose, prestige, anyone who has titles, who comes from money, who has a lot of stuff, so belongings, it's an overall kind of image of wealth, would attract a narcissist. So anything that's kind of, special that makes other people go, oh, look what he's got. Oh, look who he's with. Oh, she's that amazing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's with her now. Okay. So anything that rubs off on them and makes them look better is good, because they have such low self-esteem, and they need the fuel that comes from being admired. So being on the arm of someone who's, smart or accomplished or talented makes them look good. So, and by the same token, anyone who is physically beautiful, who is, a head turner, who gets attention for their looks, is another thing that narcissists in particular, more so than the sociopaths and the psychopaths, narcissists in particular are very, very susceptible to flattery. So, yeah, the beautiful ones will always get their attention. They're also looking for people who are smart, but not too smart. They want you to be smart, but they don't want you to be clued in on them and their games. So it's a bit of a catch-22, because what attracts them to you in the first place, your intellect and general knowledge, or just your sense of humor, or whatever it is about you that attracts them in regards to intellect and intelligence, that later on down the track will be what will actually, in part, be the demise of the relationship, because your smartness will mean you'll figure them out. So yeah, it's hard for them. So they end up with people who aren't so smart, and that drives them crazy because then they're bored, absolutely bored shitless. All right, so educated. Once again, it's that thing of title and prestige. You know, she's a brain surgeon, she's a ballerina. So anyone who has any power, once again, titles, authority, you know, the mayor. I can't really think of any other titles at the moment. I'm not really into titles. I'm an anarchist, so I'm not into titles. So it's kind of actually hard for me to rattle them off the top of my head. But I think you get what I'm saying. Okay, so they're looking for people, as I said, who make them look good. But they're also looking for people that make them feel good. So they are craving attention. I mean, they're craving fuel, but how they get fuel is through attention, admiration, adoration. They love being looked up to. They love being told, "Oh, you're amazing. Oh my God, you're so amazing." You know, they absolutely love that. So someone who, you know, kind of gives them lots of fuel, who gives them lots of love and adoration. But here comes the bad stuff. They're also looking for the damaged ones. So people who have poor boundaries. And make no mistake, narcissists will be checking this stuff out. So when you think you're having kind of normal banter or kind of normal conversations, you know, that's not what's happening. The narcissist is sussing you out, taking note, making observations on how you respond to certain things, checking your boundaries, pushing a little bit, seeing if you react, seeing if you respond. You know, by the time they have chosen you, you know, they have well and truly put you through your paces. So boundaries, they also look for women who, or men, but as I said, I'm always talking to the girls here. So women who are isolated and alone. So women who don't have family, you know, and it might be that, you know, your family's dead or they're interstate or you don't talk to them. If you have issues, you know, if you've got daddy issues, like that's perfect for a narcissist. Perfect. Yeah, daddy issues, alone, isolated, and needy. So someone who desperately needs, you know, love, needs to belong. You know, there's a tendency, especially I've noticed, I mean, look, this is my observation of what I have noticed in my own particular little scenario, but I notice his new supply. It was a bit of a, how do we put this, a desperation pick. So he wasn't quite ready for me to leave, and so all of a sudden he was left with no supply, and so he had to jump, and you know, and jump he did, but it wasn't actually the perfect kind of match. He, you know, this is someone who'd come into our world, he'd kind of had his eye on her, but you know, found out that she wasn't that bright and she wasn't this and she wasn't that. So he kind of wasn't as interested as, you know, he might have been initially. But then when I left, he had to find supply and find it quickly. So he made a desperation pick. And often the narcissists do that when they are desperately seeking urgent supply. They'll often downgrade. And they do it because they also know it's a temporary move. I mean, it could last years, but in their mind, it's still a temporary thing. It's not a forever thing. There is no forever with narcissists. So, yes, they downgrade, and they will often pick someone who, you know, is not their their perfect person, let's put it that way. But someone who's needy. And yeah, needy and wanting to be loved. All right. So they also go for women who are insecure and unsure of themselves. So it could be that they're, insecure about their looks, their IQ, about their standing in life. It could be, they're unsure of just, how it all works, how life works, and they just need someone to guide them and steer them through life. And that is perfect for a narcissist, because they can come in being the voice of authority, and this pretty young thing is not going to know any different, because no one's ever taught her right from wrong, no one's ever guided her through life. There's a lot of women who are really quite vulnerable to predators like the narcissist. When I think back, of my life and the kind of scenes and places that I've been, in the streets, and just different environments, and I think about the types of women and people that I've met. There's a lot of really vulnerable, lonely, and scared women who will go quite literally from kind of one man to the next. They'll just latch on to whoever offers them something, and it's it's kind of sad and it's scary, and those particular types of women are so at risk from narcissistic predators. All right, so ultimately, although, as I said, although they are craving, love and adoration and admiration, what they're really looking for is women that they can control, women that they can dominate, that they can con and manipulate. And as I said, and they will try this stuff on. When people say, oh, why did the narcissist choose me? What you also have to understand is it's not so much so that they chose you. What they do is they put out, they're like, if you imagine this kind of fisherman's analogy, they don't put out one line to see what they catch, or they don't go out, trying to catch, the big whale or, a big tuna. They don't do that. They just throw out lots and lots of nets and see every day, pull it in and see what they've dragged in. And as I said, always remember, the ends justifies the means. They'll do whatever it takes to get what they want, and they will always gravitate towards what is easiest, the path of least resistance. So whoever gives them what they want, the easiest will be where they will go. So if you are easy, if you put up with their bullshit, if you believe their lies, if you have no sense of self and no sense of self-worth, and if you don't stand up for yourself, and if you just let them abuse you, they will stay with you. And whereas if you kind of if you imagine a person with no self-worth, no self-esteem, and then you put them next to, say, a really accomplished prima ballerina, on surface value, and you would say, who would the narcissist prefer? Most people, I suppose, would say the accomplished, prima ballerina. But in actual fact, most narcissists would actually prefer the one with low self-esteem, low self-worth, who puts up with his bullshit, listens to his lies, never calls him out on anything, gives him all the adoration, admiration, and love and lust that he's looking for, never questions him, never, pulls him up when he's cheating. And if they can find someone like that to use and abuse, that attracts them. So if you're worried about being chosen again by another narcissist in the future, and there is definitely a high probability that you will come across at least one more narcissist in your lifetime. What I would actually say is you need to do the work on yourself. You need to address your own wounds, your own issues, as in, how did you get in a relationship with someone like that in the first place? What made you put up with that kind of abuse? What made you think you didn't deserve anything better than that? You know, why are you still thinking about that? These are the questions you need to ask yourself and work on. Work on you, because if you change you, if he doubles back around, you'll be less susceptible. And if you come across another narcissist on your travels in life, you'll be less attractive to them. So if you've got self-worth, self-esteem, you stand up for yourself, if you've got boundaries, if you don't take bullshit from anyone, if you call out people who lie to you, if you won't allow anyone to cheat on you or disrespect you, a narcissist doesn't want to be with someone who's got boundaries and self-esteem. I mean, they might do it for a short while just because it's fun to try and get someone who's got high morals and high self-esteem to kind of betray themselves. It's fun to see if you can get them to, put up with abuse when they said they wouldn't, stay when they said they wouldn't. Like, they like those kind of games, and they might stick around for a little while to play that kind of thing. But as a general rule, the narcissist is not going to be attracted to someone who has self-worth, self-esteem, and boundaries. So that's what you need to work on, my darling. That is the key. And as for why did the narc choose me, who cares? They're gone, and that's the main thing. All right? There's so many beautiful, beautiful men out there. Go find you a nice one. Go be happy. All right, darlings, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.